these are Chef Kimo's famous blueberry muffins, and this is the best blueberry muffin I ever had, and I gotta give him credit, and here's to you, Chef Kimo. What we're doing is we're making a muffin. A muffin is a quick bread. We have a whole series and week on quick breads, and what that means is we're using chemical leaveners. Yeast takes a very long time. We have to let it rise, we have to let it ferment. Quick breads, because we're using baking soda, baking powder, rise very quickly as soon as they're either heat activated or get some moisture on them. So we're gonna make the most beautiful blueberry muffin. I have my mixer set with my paddle, muffin method, creaming method, two different mixing methods for quick breads and muffins, and we're going to use the muffin method today. So what that means is we're not gonna cream butter, we're going to use an oil as the fat in our muffin. And I gotta say, these blueberry muffins, like I said, it's a great basis for a muffin. So whether it be blueberry, you could add cranberry, you could really mix it up. The muffin base itself is just really delicious. And this is just because Chef Kimo shared it with us and he was so terrific about it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow our method, and we're gonna have a paddle on our mixer. It talks about adding our eggs, our oil. I'm gonna put my vanilla in, and my sugar, and I'm gonna paddle it up, and I'm gonna incorporate them. You get them really nice and incorporated, put everything together here. I have my sour cream, my dry, and my blueberries. What we do with our blueberries, because we don't want the smurf muffin, and we don't want that blue muffin, is our blueberries are separate, and we have a little extra flour kicked out that I put on top of my blueberries, and I give them a shake, shake, shake. And that kind of coats them, makes it so they incorporate a little bit better, and you don't get a bright blue muffin, which is not what we're looking for. I want those berries to be very individual in that muffin, and when you bite into one, it has that beautiful flavor. I have my dry, and I followed the Carrie Logan sifting method. I owned a cupcake shop for years. What I learned to do, especially with a quick bread, is I'm going to add my dry ingredients to my flour, to my dry, and I'm going to shake it and call it the Carrie Logan sifting method. I don't do it for cakes. For cakes, I certainly sift it by hand. Super important because it's a leavening method for that cake. Muffins, maybe not so much. So I have my sour cream and my dry. I have my egg mixture going around, and I'm going to alternate. I'm going to turn it down a little bit so I don't wear it. I have my spatula for scraping, because like I said, scraping is as important as anything you're going to do. We want to make sure we get all that flour, oil, sugar up off the bottom and really incorporate it really well. So I'm going to do half of my dry. Get it in there. Woo! Hit the paddle. Woo! Got my dry. And I'm going to incorporate half my sour cream. I'm going to let it go around. Put it in there. See it's going around nice. And we'll let it incorporate. Turn it up a little bit. Let it go around. So it's going around and it's looking beautiful. I'm going to make sure I stop it and scrape it. I'm going to drop my mixer. And I have a little bit of flour on the edges, and I want that to be incorporated. Like I said, scraping is as important as anything you're going to do. I get it all in there. Scrape, and I don't want anything on the sides. I want it all to be incorporated into my muffin. There we go. It looks good. And I'm going to do the same thing again, all over again. I'm going to add, while this is down, I'm going to add the rest of my dry. There it goes in my little bag. Bring my arm up, and I'm going to start incorporating that. I'm going to let the paddle do all the work for me. I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to add my sour cream. Make sure I get it all in there. There it is. It's all incorporated in. Make sure it gets incorporated really well. Turn it up just a little bit. It's looking good. Here we go, it's looking good, it's going around. I'm going to stop it like I said, I'm going to drop it. I have my spatula, I'm again going to come up down the sides. I don't want any product on the sides of my bowl or on my paddle. I want to make sure it gets all incorporated. Get it in there. All on the sides, make sure I get the bottom. There it goes. I'm going to paddle it up. I'm going to bring up my mixer. That's very important. Here we go. Paddle it around. We're really going to give it one big minute of incorporating. I don't really want to incorporate a lot of air, and it's really not what I'm looking to do. Sometimes with chemical leaveners, what happens is it gets overmixed and we get a product called tunneling at the bottom of the muffin, and that means the air has come up from the bottom, it's dropping itself up to the top. We don't want that, but you can see it's really come together very nicely. I'm going to stop that and pull it off the mixer. I'm going to let you take a look at it. You can see it's a beautiful muffin batter. And I'm going to come in and scrape. I want to get everything that's on that paddle down back into my mixing bowl. There we go. And the last thing we have to do is incorporate the blueberries. And I'm going to come back in one more time and scrape all the sides of my bowl. Super important, really just clean it up really well. And I do that every time I take anything off the mixer. The mixers are super handy for us and do a lot of the work, but in the end, taking the time to clean up and scrape really well is really important. So now I have my blueberries with my flour. I want to make sure, sometimes that flour, if I can get the lid off, the flour gets incorporated in it too, because it's part of the formula, and you don't want to leave it at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and start folding and turning those blueberries into the muffin batter. I don't want to break them. Folding is coming up and around from the bottom and then turning and bringing that heavier product up and around. It's not stirring. Folding is a mixing method, and I'm bringing those heavy blueberries up and around from the bottom. I'm going to come in here and scrape it real good. I don't want to break any of the blueberries because that makes a Smurfberry muffin, and that's not what we're looking for. So here's my batter, and it's beautiful muffin batter. And what we're going to do next is we're going to come in and we're going to learn how to scoop, portion, and then put our streusel on top.